Wake up your morning in a brand new way with the positive people, places, events, and things in and around your neighborhood and around the world. No matter where you live, your mornings are about to get better. It's the refreshing way to start your day. No doom or gloom, just bright sunshine no matter what the weather. Metro Magazine with Bonnie McDaniel. Inspiring, informative, intelligent, Ion. Positively the best way to start your morning. Good morning and welcome to Metro Magazine. We're here with Chef Chris Kyler, who is the winner of Cutthroat Kitchen Season 2 and also a finalist for the Food Network Star Season number 10. And I can't tell you how excited I am to have him come in and share his journey with us. So Chris, I'd like to welcome you to Metro Magazine.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be doing this with you. I know we had lunch last time.
Yes.
So I'm so excited to be talking with you today.
And you know, I guess a lot of people were like, well, why aren't they cooking, some of your famous dishes, especially the buttercoins? Yeah, by the way, you owe me a lesson in how to make those.
Excellent.
But I really wanted people to get to know Chris Kyler because there are a lot of things that you have on the horizon. And I think that if people knew you and knew what you're made out of, that they would really, grow to love you as we all do. So let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to start out with with your Cutthroat Kitchen competition, and then we're going to go backwards. So we're going to move around quite a bit.
Okay.
So talk to me, how did all of that come about in terms of your being considered for the Cutthroat Kitchen competition? Because I know it wasn't just, hey, they picked up the phone and called you, or maybe they did. So why don't you share that journey with us?
Okay. Well, pretty much I've always wanted to kind of see where I measured up in the culinary world, against other chefs. I mean, it's one thing when your family tells you, hey, you can cook really good, your friends and family, they're your family, that's what they're supposed to do. But, I wanted to see like where I measured up. So I really wanted to be on the season of Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're a brave man if you go on with him. He's scary.
I mean, but I really respect Gordon Ramsay as a chef. His eye for perfection, his excellence, level of excellence. He expects nothing less than the best. And I mean, that's how we should all operate. Granted, not the cussing and the foul language that he also incorporates, but just his professionalism and perfectionism that he portrays is what I was looking to learn from.
Okay.
So I tried out for Hell's Kitchen.
And what happened with that?
I actually tried out twice. I tried out in Philadelphia where I didn't get a call back. I was kind of new to the casting process, and I did a little studying on how to present myself in the casting. So I went to Nashville, Tennessee, where I applied again. And this time when I went, I had a whole lot of energy. I was like, hey, I'm the normal Chris Kyler that I am, but you only have 30 seconds to pitch who you are.
Right.
There's thousands of people online. So I went in, all great energy. I impressed the casting director. She, I had another interview. I had 3 interviews, made it all the way to finals. She was like, got my plane information. I thought I was golden. And then I didn't get the final call to go on the show. So I was really kind of disappointed. And I was like, man, maybe this just is not, something I'm supposed to do. Maybe it's not my season.
And you know what happens, if I can interrupt you, being in television, what happens most of the time is that a lot of times for these shows, they have a set formula that they're looking for. So they kind of have an idea in their minds already before they start the casting.
Yes.
As to who those people are, what those people are going to look like.
A character type, yep.
Yeah. So, I'm sure that you probably figured that out though. But
definitely. But I just wanted to show who, I had to characterize myself. That's what I learned between the 2 castings. I had to make almost like a cartoon version of myself, more exaggerated. So,
right.
Like I said, I was really bummed out when I didn't get on the show. And like 2 weeks later, I was in the barbershop and getting a haircut. And my phone's ringing. It says New York. And I'm like, New York? I don't have any friends in New York. I'm like, well, maybe it's a bill collector. I was going to hang up the phone.
Somebody else you owe, right?
Yeah. And I was like, but I don't know. I was like, let me just see who it is. Pick up the phone, and it's like, hi, this is Jen from Food Network. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
Food Network.
So did you finish the haircut?
No, I've stood up in the middle of my haircut. I'm like, oh, wait. I'm like, hold on. And she's like, we would love for you to audition for Cutthroat Kitchen.
So you did get a phone call. I love it.
Yeah, out of the blue. I didn't audition for the show or anything. I hadn't heard much about Cutthroat Kitchen, so she told me, and I was like, of course I would love to audition. I looked up, searched the show, and I was like, oh man, I could do this. And went out to LA, filmed it, and it was just a eye-opening experience, just to be in front of all the cameras and lights and production assistants and everything. It was just like, wow, this is a really big operation. But I wanted to give everything that I had. I really wanted to win because I'm very competitive, but I was like, even if I lose, this might be my last chance, but I'm going to give it everything that I have, and that's what I did, and I won. So
wow. So if you look at the fact that, number one, you tried out for Hell's Kitchen, and then that led to your getting a call from Food Network. So somebody
passed
saw
my
you
name.
on someone's radar,
exactly.
for being a real good candidate for that. Let's go back for a minute and talk about your life, because people, for instance, people will say, I want to be you, or I want to do what you do, or whatever. And I will always say to them, there's a price that people pay to be in the spaces they're in. Sometimes the price is a little bit, and sometimes it's a lot. Let's talk about your life and your preparation for making it possible for you to be able to stand in that space and own it. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
Let's start with where you grew up.
Well, I was born in Hampton, Virginia. The area I wasn't, was kind of the hood, a ghetto area. I don't know if I would
Good
say
stuff comes out of the hood.
Yeah, it's the hood. Basically it was the hood, apartment complex, like the Jeffersons, like, that was my area. So it was a rough area. My mom wanted to kind of get out of that area, so I think we moved at around when I was age 5 or 6. We moved to Alexandria, and it was a little bit better up here during that time. It wasn't the best conditions, but I didn't grow up around drugs or anything. But I had a single parent, and she had hard times raising me and my sister. So, but we never knew that we were poor.
Right.
She
was a good mom because she kept you.
We never knew it, but so that's pretty much how I grew up. We finally moved to the Woodbridge area, where things got a little bit better. She got a townhouse instead of an apartment, and that's where I started getting my interest for cooking. I would come in the kitchen and be like, Mom, what are you doing? She'd be cooking, and I'd be smelling the aromas. That kind of attracted me into the kitchen. And she used to make gravy, and one day I was like, Mom, can you show me how to make it? And I think it was like 10 or 11, and she was like, sure. So I hopped up on the counter, and she was, she had cooked some beef or something, and then the grease from that, she would add in the flour, and I was like, Mom, why are you doing that? And just how she made gravy to me was very exciting. And when she added in the broth, and the consistency was smooth, no lumps, and she taught me all of that, and I was like, wow, this is cool.
And you know what? Your mom is giving you a science lesson, because a lot of people don't realize that food is very much, cooking is very much a science.
Yes.
So, yeah, she was teaching you science without her maybe knowing she was teaching you science.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and the fact that you grasped that was pretty significant.
Yeah,
but anyway, go ahead.
And then when you find out the French technique for gravy is, you start off with a roux. It's like, wow, she didn't even know she...
And you learn a French word.
Exactly,
yeah.
So that was kind of where sparked my interest. I took home economics in high school.
So wait a minute. You took home economics in high school. What was that like? Were you like the only dude in the class?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you had all these women. Okay,
exactly.
I love it.
I had a bunch of girls in there, so I loved that. And I was a really short kid when I was in high school. Like, I looked like, when I was 17, I looked like I was 10. So all the girls would be like, "Oh, you're cute, like my little brother," but they never gave me the time of day, So
you're like, wait a couple of years.
Exactly. So, like I said, I began to grow in learning techniques and the basics in home economics, and I was like, wow, just adding to what I knew already, and that's where I kind of just started to grow as a young chef, I would say. My first job was KFC. And I learned how to fry chicken like nobody's business. Like,
okay.
I mean,
so you know the secret?
Oh yeah, I can't tell those 19 spices. They'll sue me now. But no, I mean, I learned everything about frying chicken. And some people are like, oh, you fried chicken, but to me,
there's a real art to frying a good piece of chicken.
Exactly. So the batter doesn't so the batter doesn't come off. It's crispy, and the chicken is cooked all the way through. So yeah, it is a science to that.
So you learn how to cook chicken, and you learn how to make gravy. Those are two really tough things to learn how to do. How were you? You learned gravy at 10, and how were you when you learned chicken?
I think it was about 16 when I started working
You
there.
were well on your way to becoming a master chef, for sure. Yeah, because those two, people may not realize that those two things, to perfect it, it really does take someone who's very skilled.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, from there, I wanted to learn more. So I started I got a job at Red Lobster.
Okay.
And not as a chef, but as a food expediter. I would take the food out, and that's where I started learning about seafood and more exotic ingredients and lobster. And I was like, wow, I love seafood. I mean, fish. That's where I grew to love it. So just getting that knowledge, not hands-on, but just seeing, soaking it all up. And so it came time for me to graduate, and I actually, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, college or the military, and I really didn't have the funds for college, so I was like, well, let me go into the military. And I don't know why I chose. I mean, I had a couple of options to choose from, but I wanted to choose a chef. It wasn't the highest paid. It wasn't forecasted as the best job. This was before TV and Food Network and Celebrity Chef was cool. So I just loved cooking. So I was like, I'm gonna go in as that, and I really excelled. I moved up the ranks pretty quickly.
Now, what branch of the military?
Navy. I went into the Navy.
So you're a Navy chef?
Yep, culinary specialist.
Okay.
They sent us to Lackland Air Force Base, where we took mass food production. So we learned how to cook for the masses, 5,000 people, because I was on an aircraft carrier. We learned about international cuisines, the French, Mexican, Italian, all the different cuisines, because we had different cultures. So that kind of broadened my horizon.
And the Latin flavors are so distinctive. When you're talking about the different spices and how they go about cooking food.
Yes.
Very, very different. That actually, when you look at the Latin, think about the Latin palate, it really does intersect a lot of the other types of cuisines. If you really sat down and thought about it. Yeah. And the French is another one that's very good for that.
Exactly. I mean, every culture, ethnicity, they have their own, signature ingredients that they use. Indian, the spices, turmeric, paprika. They have their, even soul food. We have our certain ingredients that we use. So just to get, all of that exposure to those ingredients and the culture really helped to expand my knowledge of culinary in the culinary field.
So I want you to stop right there for a minute. We're going to put a sticky note on that, and we're going to go for a quick break and come back and learn about some of the exciting things you did while you were a Navy chef. And we're going to be right back with more Metro Magazine.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
And we're back with Chris Schuyler, our top chef, who's sharing just a little bit of his journey to becoming the icon that he is. And Chris, when we went to break, you were talking about your beginning career, if you will, with the U.S. Navy. So we're gonna let you continue with that.
Yeah, so I'm in the Navy as a young culinary specialist, And like I said, I just took what I have learned, and I wanted to become the best chef, best cook that I could become. So I mean, they put us in the galley where we're cooking for 4,000 sailors a day. The food is not that high-end gourmet. I mean, it's like grilled stuffed peppers, chili mac. That's the
So
stuff.
they ever throw the food back at you because it wasn't good?
No. So,
That's a lot of men to be upsetting it because the food isn't good.
But I mean, these sailors, I mean, they're working. They get three meals a day. So I mean, when they come through the line, they're hungry. They're not looking for nothing fancy. But even we all tried to find we wanted to shine in what we did. So I remember them putting me on an omelet station. I did that every morning for 3 months. I was on an omelet station, and I was I wanted to make the best omelets ever, and I would do it. They used to call me KY in the Navy. That's my nickname. So they'd be like, KY, man, these omelets are good, and that would be like, yes. I would just make them, the best that I could, and we had different watches. So sometimes I would be in charge of the watch, whether it was a night watch to cook or whatever. And like I said, whatever I did, I tried to make sure I did it at the best possible level. And they started to notice that, from the way I kept myself clean and iron and sharp to the way I made sure the food was put out on time. It was delicious. And they were like, you know what, they noticed I had talent. So they moved me to cooking for the officers, which is, which is smaller, condensed crowd, maybe about 400 or 500 officers. And there it was a little bit more refined. It wasn't that, chili mac. It was, fish and grilled fish and asparagus and, that type of stuff. So I got to, kind of hone in my skills and really do what I loved. And even at that point, they were like, wow, he's really doing good. So they decided to move me to cooking just for the captain.
Wow.
Yes, where I would be cooking all of his meals. He would have, he would be up in the ship's helm, driving the ship. And I would
now,
bring...
what aircraft carrier were you on?
I was on the USS Harry S. Truman.
Okay, who was the captain?
Captain Groothausen. He's I think he's a 2-star admiral now.
Okay.
And he may even be retired, but at that time, he was the captain. And like I said, I would bring the food up, and it was I don't know if you've ever been on a Navy vessel, but when we had to go up 10 flights of steps in these skinny, narrow stairway, and it's really straight up. It's not a...
So did you have to carry the food?
Yeah. So I had this big tray, and I'm trying to go up the steps. Every day I had to do this, and I would
3 times a day?
Well, he would have
there?
he would have his breakfast and his lunch, when he was in the ship's helm, and then for dinner he would come down, and he had this beautiful living quarters. So that's where he would have his dining room, and if he had meetings with other officers or the dignitaries, that's where everything would happen. So that's kind of where dinner time is where we could do whatever we wanted. We'd be creative. He would say, hey, Kyler, I want you to do lamb. And, I would take that and make it, there was another young lady that was working in there with me. So we would take the dish and be really creative and, just put out food. And he would love it. He was like, oh, my gosh, Kyler, this is good. He was like, Kyler, it's delicious.
What did your mom think about all of this?
Oh, my gosh, she was so proud. I mean, just to be at that level, that was one of the highest positions on the ship as a chef. Other than the admirals, there was the admiral's mess, and that he was, he would visit, but it wasn't his ship. So it was one of my buddies. He worked in the admiral's mess, and then we would collaborate for big events. So I mean, it was definitely an honor to be in that position. And my mom was just like, for me to be a young African American at that position, she was very proud. I got to cook for President Bush Sr. He came on our ship, and we did lunch for him. I think we did chicken piccata, and he loved it. We also cooked for Bruce Willis. He did Tears of the Sun, filming that movie on our show.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry,
on your ship.
on our ship. Yep. So, and to meet them and the cast and the director, it's just like, wow, this is,
So you were getting an introduction to cameras and lights and all of that. And
well, I wasn't in front of the camera.
No, but I mean, getting to
it.
see it behind the scenes and not realizing what was going on in your life.
Yeah, I mean, just the exposure of being around the captain and see who he saw, Kubigan Jr. and all them came on our ship for different events. And we would see them, it's not like, everybody else would kind of be afar, but we had like up close personal experiences with these people. So it was just awesome experience. I felt like I was at the pinnacle of my young career. I mean, if
How
you
old
look,
were you at this time when you were doing?
I was about 21, 22.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I mean, things were looking bright. And that's where things kind of took a turn. Me being young, I started to hang around the wrong crowd, being with friends that I shouldn't have, because I wanted to live off the ship when we were in port. And so we moved off ship, started hanging around these guys. They were doing drugs, and I was being influenced by them. And it was ultimately my decision, but I took that fall by experimenting with marijuana, and I got kicked out of the military. It was like,
and and if I can interrupt you here for a second, because I know that there's some young people watching this, and I know, being a mom, very often those of us who are mature, and it happened with me with my mom, my parents, when you're listening to people who are mature and they're telling you, you don't want to walk over there, you kind of think you know it all.
Yeah.
And having experienced what you did, because you had been really put into such a, such fertile ground, and to having to lose that because of poor decisions.
Yes.
What would you say? What perspective did you gain from that experience?
And you're absolutely right. I mean, and me as a mentor to other young people, I see that now. Trying to talk to them is very hard, and like I was very prideful, and I know what I'm talking about, Mom. And she was like, son, you need to go this way, you need to do that, and you need to have character, have integrity. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, you think old people, they don't know what they're talking about, and so
and it's interesting, that conversation, old people.
That's the mentality.
But you know what's so interesting? Because there's at least a couple of decades between the two of us. And if I look at what you just said, the same conversation that I may have had with my parents was the same response. Those basic kinds of things, they are timeless. Integrity.
Exactly.
Being, on time and being responsible. All of those qualities transcend any generation,
yes,
whether it's now or whether it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago. So talk about that.
I mean from the perspective that my mom tried to instill in me, she always tried to instill character and integrity, doing what's right when nobody's looking.
Right.
I kind of had the get over mentality, like nobody's looking, let me go ahead and do this my way, or but she always instilled that. And see what the I don't want to say the older generation, they want to let you know, like, hey, I used to be into that. I used to dance. I used to smoke. But it wasn't a good look for my life. It wasn't productive. So they try to steer you in a way for success, so you don't go down the path that they went, because it's a distraction. It takes you off course of where you could be. Like, I feel like if I didn't go through what I went through, I could be way further along now than if I wouldn't have made those mistakes.
Talk about relationships.
Okay.
Because that's another critical thing, because you said that it was the influence of the people that were around you. Talk about that for a moment.
These relationships with these guys that I was hanging around with, and all they wanted to do was party, smoke, drink, and it's attractive in the sense of, oh yeah, it's fun, to live unresponsible, to have no responsibility, to spend all your money and blow it and go party and have that appearance of success, or like the lifestyle that rappers and stuff portray, like money and cars and clothes and women. They portray that success, but really it's emptiness. There's nothing in it, except for because when you think of it, after you get drunk, you're hangover, and you're like, I hope I never drink again. You know what I mean? You feel horrible. It's like you're destructing your body. You're messing up your liver. All the stuff that looks fun. You're not getting rest. You're partying, and you can contract an STD. So the appearance, it looks fun, but there's at the end result is death. You know what I mean? So it's and that's what I had to realize. I felt like the enemy or the devil wanted to take me down a path, that looked fun, but it was taking me off course. So,
and we're going to stop
Okay.
again for one quick break, and I want you guys to see some of the fun stuff that he's doing right now during our break, and we're going to be right back with more Metro Magazine.
And then there were 7. Congratulations.
This has been a really tough competition, but I can, from a far distance, see the finish line. Now! I have 60 minutes to make my product and to start thinking about how I want to present it.
What's up, CK? It's a lot of butter.
Yeah. My POV is taking simple, humble ingredients and making them more modern. So today I'm making black truffle and chervil flavored butter. I take regular old butter and I inject these big flavors into it.
How's it going, Chris?
Hey!
What are you making?
Something that I always do is make flavored butters. And I'm gonna make these little coins. You know how you do the chocolate coins that you had when you were a kid?
I like that.
Exactly. And you just pop them open, you can put it on top of a steak.
Everything's pre-measured for you.
I call it maybe culinary treasures or something.
I like it.
I love everything about your product. You have such a clever conception and clever execution and a really clever packaging idea. I would use this product. I think everybody that I know would use this product.
Thank you.
It's huge. Definitely one of the best things I've seen on this show ever.
Thank you. Wow, what a great honor.
Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And we're back with Chef Chris Kyler, who has joined us this morning to share his amazing journey to becoming one of the top chefs in the country. So, Chris, when we went to break, you were just talking about your experience in the military and how relationships bad relationships result in your being asked to leave the military. So let's pick up from where we left off.
Okay. And so, I had these bad relationships and, like I said, it was ultimately my bad decision that, got me to the point where I was. But, after I got kicked out, it was like a wake-up call. Like, hey, what am I doing? Everything that I've worked for, to be in the captains, I went from here literally,
Wow.
Yeah, it was a real wake-up call.
So what was that? You got kicked out. You got called into a meeting or something, and
What?
did
No,
they do drug
they
testing?
Yeah, they do surprise urinalysis, and I had a surprise urinalysis, and I think I had we had just flown back out to sea, and then when I took the I think I had partied or whatever, and that's when I actually tried it for the first time. And when I came back, when they flew us back on the ship, they did a surprise urinalysis, and I popped. So yeah. And like I said, it was just.
So what was that meeting like? I mean, your captain or who
Yes.
called you in, and what was that like?
So I mean, it was the worst feeling. It's almost like a disappointed father, because I'm not just. I mean, he doesn't know everyone on the ship. I cook for this man, and he's telling me like I'm being put out. Like,
Wow.
and the look in his eyes, I could tell that he was just like disappointed. Like, it's like he didn't even want to look at me, but like, come on, man. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that, like a disappointed father almost to his son. And like I said, it was just, I felt like I let him down, my family, my country, and it was just a bad decision. So, I mean, after that, I still had a lot of pride. I was like, forget the Navy. I was, still in my feelings and, being young. I was like, forget the Navy, and I don't need this. And I wanted to be a rapper. I was like, I'm going to just, yeah. I want to be a rapper.
50,000 other young black
like,
males
forget
out there.
this. I'm going to rap. I'm going to start this music label and blow up. That was the kind of the mentality I had. But
Okay. How old were you then?
I was 22. I was 23 at this
Oh my
time.
gosh.
Yeah. So, and I never forget my mom, she, cause during, like, you don't just get kicked out and then you leave. You have to do like punishment. So they send you to the brig. That's the military. It's non-judicial punishment, but it's like military jail. So I had to go do this time, before I got kicked out. And my mom, I never forget, she came and visited me, and she was like, son, I want you to read this. She gave me the Bible, and she gave me Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
So she gave me that book, and I was like, I'm not going to read this. Mom, I'm gonna be a rapper. You know, like forget this. You know, and she was just like, son, I'm praying for you. I want you to read this. So I took the books. I didn't read them in the break. And then it was one experience that kind of changed everything for me. So I went back hanging with the same guy I was partying with and stuff. And I'm like, these are my people now. So, you know, we're still doing drugs and stuff. And
had you graduated to something else at this point from
no.
marijuana? You was just
just marijuana. I never got into crack cocaine or anything like that. Just marijuana. So kept smoking, and me and the guy and another young lady were living in an apartment, partying and stuff. And so he was trying to influence me to get into this gang. The Bloods, and I was, and I was just like, you know, at first I was like, yeah, cool, I want to wear a red bandana and, you know, do all the dances.
You had a death wish, didn't you?
Exactly, but I mean, that's, you know.
I know, 23 years old, yeah.
Yeah, we're idiots at that age. Like, we have no clue about anything but what's in front of us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do.
So I was like, yeah, I want to do it, you know, and then, you know, the real gang members were like, well, you're going to have to kill somebody.
You're going to have to kill somebody?
Yeah, in order to get initiated.
Yes, yes.
And that's when I was like, wait a minute, I was just playing. I just wanted to wear the do-rags. I'm not made for this. Like, I was like, no, that's insane. I'm not, you know, it kind of snapped back into myself. So he still wanted to go that route. And I never forget, one night I was in my room, I was high, doing marijuana, and I was just like zoning out, and I heard a noise at the window. So I went to look, and I saw him and the other gang members down there, and the window was cracked, and they were like, man, you got to do this, man, if you want to be initiated. He was like, nah, man, that's like my brother. And I saw them hand him the gun, and you know, he like proceeded to walk into the apartment complex. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, oh my God, like I think he's trying to kill me. So I ran into my roommate's room, hid in her closet, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I think man's trying to get me. Like, if he comes in here, tell him I'm not here. So he comes in, storms in, where's Chris? Where's Chris? Where's Chris? She's like, I don't know, he's not here. And he's like, if you see him, let me know. And he walked out. So that was like, he really came up there. So I'll never forget, I ran out. As soon as he left, like, I ran the opposite way out of the house, and I ran out. I was running down the street. It was nighttime, and I kind of like dropped to my knees, and I was just crying, like, oh my God, like that was
your friend's gonna kill you.
Exactly. I really felt like, you know, like, man, that could have been it for me. And I just broke down on my knees and cried, and I was like, God, like, I'm done. I want to turn my life around. If you know, if you're real, you know, show yourself to me. Tell me what to do. I want to get out of this. And like, clear as day, he told me to go back, go to sleep, and in the morning just leave the whole situation. Leave. And I was like, well, I gotta pack and leave everything, my clothes, my shoes, everything that I had associated with that life, just leave it all. And I told my mom, I just left everything, did exactly what he said. Of course, I was homeless for a few weeks there.
Where did you go? Did you stay in the same town? Because now he's looking for you.
I don't know. I think I was in Norfolk, and I went to Virginia Beach. Like, I went to another.
You can sleep on the beach for free.
Yeah. So, but I think one of my friends was like, "You can stay with me for a while." I got a job at Applebee's. That's when I cracked open those 2 books.
Did your mom know that you were being hunted?
Yeah, I told her. I told her what I said. God told me to go back, and I told her, and she said, do what he said, to leave everything and go. So
that says a lot about your mom's faith. The fact that you're being asked, that you're being directed to go back into the hot spot.
Yeah, exactly. Because he could.
That doesn't make sense, right?
But he gave me peace. It was like, go back.
And go
Don't
to
worry.
sleep.
Go to sleep, and first thing in the morning, leave. That was the directions that was given me. I told her, and she was like, do exactly what he said. And I was like, but Mom, I tried to negotiate with her. Mom, I need my shoes. I had like a bunch of shoes. Nope. What did he say? Leave everything, go. So I did that, and that's when I opened those 2 books, and I started to dive into them and started reading them. And Think and Grow Rich just started to transform my mind.
That's an excellent. I read that years ago. It's an excellent book.
It just started transforming my mind on the power of the mind, and you know how, you know, whatever you think, it will become. You know, you have to think success. You have to think positivity, and you know, you have to think out, plan your future, write it down, vision, you have vision, and all that stuff started to transform me. And then I just started to, I recommitted my life with God, and I just kind of like turned everything around and started to, it was a very hard road back up because I had a lot to reap because I was doing a lot of dirt. So it was a lot that I had to reap because whatever you sow, you will reap it, so I had to reap it, but the more I did good, I would see little bits of progress. Then when I was able to, I moved back to this area, Woodbridge, and I started to get a job out here. I started working at Macaroni Grill, and just started doing a little bit better. I went back to the shelter because it was another point where I was homeless, and that my mind was trained. So even though I was struggling, I was working 3 jobs, I was in the shelter, and I remember having on all my clothes in the shelter, like, this is only for, this is only for, I would not let my mind, be in the shelter. Everyone else had taken off their clothes, I would be in there, this is just for rest. I would wake up in the morning, first thing before everybody's still asleep, shower, go to work, and I would come back. I did that for about 2 weeks until I was able to move with a friend. And then, like I said, I just started building on my life and, writing down my vision. This is what I need to do, crossing it out on my,
Wow. Now, what was the other book again?
The Bible.
Okay.
The Bible,
Great.
yeah.
Okay.
And as I grew and started to feed my mind, it's very important. Like, I want to say this to, it's young black men too. We don't like to read. We do not like to read.
And I was watching a segment on a news program here the last couple of weeks, and they were talking about, I wish I remembered his name, great basketball star. And he's part of this book club with a bunch of women. And he's the only dude in there, and he's been a part of it for a long time. And he's an avid reader. And he was talking about how it transformed his mind. And I would say as a mom, because reading was something, I grew up not in the hood, but in a very small town, very small neighborhood. We didn't have a lot of money. But I remember as a little girl reading, sitting outside under this big old oak tree. And my cousins and everybody else would be running around, and Bonnie would be reading. I love to read. As a matter of fact, they used to call me Tank when I was a little girl because they were like, she's always reading. Your head's going to get big if you don't stop reading. But I was like, so be it, because reading transformed me. It transformed my mind and helped me to have, I would imagine that's part of why I have such a big imagination. It came through books. So you were talking about how important it is for young men, especially young black men, to read.
And it's almost like now when I read, it's almost like you have this secret information. Although the books are available, it's like you're getting this knowledge that a lot of people probably aren't, because everywhere watch TV, and
they're so their iPads,
exactly, they're soaked up. But when you
iPads,
read, and you're like, wow, it's like, especially informative stuff that talks about your mind and people's experiences and how they've gotten to where it's like, wow, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna take this. I never knew that, it's that, you know what I mean? So now I would definitely suggest for young men and everyone, I say, man, you gotta read, man. And I'll recommend certain books to them, like 10 Distinctions Between the Middle Class and Millionaires, and they're like, oh, I want to get money, so books like that.
And you bring up an interesting point, because a lot of people, wealth can be described as having a lot of money, but I think that the wealthiest people in the world are those who have a lot of knowledge.
Exactly.
Because if you are knowledgeable, you can acquire anything.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily for you to spend money to get it.
Yeah.
It's having that knowledge and knowing where to be and how to be that gets you there. So you really discovered a secret. And you had mentioned earlier, off camera, you were talking about some of the young people that you mentor through your company. So is this one of the things that you
Yes, definitely. Especially during the summertime, I will hire a lot of kids that are out of school. I'll bring them on. I've hired teens in my church as young as 14, and I've mentored them, and because they look up to me. They're like, wow, he's young, and at least he looks young, and he has his business. He's doing well, wife, family, kids. So, I try to instill, these work habits that I didn't have because I didn't have a father in the home when I grew up. I have a relationship with my father now that's very good, but at that time, a lot of a lot of African American children sometimes have the father in the home. So I don't replace the father, but I try to instill what I would want from my father, at that age. And, I teach them about, moving in with women. You shouldn't, shack up with women because you can get pregnant and, get them pregnant, and then you have to pay child support because it won't work. And, it's just not a good situation. Focus on you first, and then you grow your, then you get your family. And a lot of kids are like, I think the prime age to start a family is around 29. You've gotten your education, you have more knowledge.
Got all the crazy out of your blood.
Exactly. Done your partying, and it's like, then you start your family. I mean, 26 the max. If you got it, you just got it like that. But I think you should, that's like the prime age. But a lot of these kids are like, they're out of high school, I want to get married. They think, love. And I'm like, you have your whole lives to be married.
Are you speaking from a point of experience?
Yes.
When you talk about moving in and having children?
Yes, I definitely did the whole, shacking up.
And I asked you that question because I want people to know, because sometimes, it's very easy to sit on a perch and dispense information, but when you're coming from a point of experience, I think it's more valuable.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So I have two children. I have a 2-year-old with my my wife, and then I have a 11-year-old with my previous relationship. And that's where that knowledge comes from with my daughter, because I feel like it's almost like she was robbed of having, granted, we have a great relationship. She comes up and visits, summer times and holidays, but she's missing that, me in the home all the time, and I feel like that's something that, it was our fault because we didn't commit first, and then, and then plan out everything, and I know you can't plan children all the time, but I just feel
at least
like
have the foundation, or
but
have
she's
it,
being
system in
affected
place.
because of our decision that we made.
And you know what? I'm so glad. I really appreciate you being transparent and saying that, because as provincial as marrying and having a family and having family life might seem to be in 2014, there really is a design for that, and it has to do with the impact, the negative impact that it has on people as they grow. It makes it so much more difficult, I think, for children coming up. That instability and not knowing at any moment, if a parent's going to be there or not be there.
Exactly. I mean, and she has a great mother, and and when she comes with me, I instill as much as I can. But it's like when you have, like, I look at my son and how he has us both. It's like he has a sense of security, and all the things that I can instill into him. I'm from an early age, I'm teaching him about prayer, and he prays for mommy, daddy, and everything. Just those things that that I didn't have. So I think it's very important.
We're going to transition a little bit when we come back from break, and yes, we're going on break once more so that we can regroup. And I want to talk about icons and people that you look up to, and talk about, from your perspective, what do you see that you think you can glean from the people that they are? When we come back, we're going to talk about that more with Chris Kyler. We'll be right back with more Metro Magazine.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
And we're back. If you're just joining us, we're here with Chris Kyler, and I hope you've been watching this amazing interview, because he's been sharing his journey to becoming one of the most well-known chefs in the country due to your experience at Food Network, having been the winner of Cutthroat Kitchen 2 and also being one of the Food Network stars that are coming up. And you've had a very, very interesting journey, and I really appreciate, I want to see on camera your being transparent and sharing that journey, because I know it's going to impact the lives of a lot of people who are watching. So we were talking about, you were sharing your experience and how you came through that bump in the road, if you will. But you were also talking about your having made, I won't say mistakes, I don't think children are mistakes. You've made some decisions that were maybe a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah.
And the impact it had on you.
And yeah, it's definitely not a mistake. It's because it's all about my daughter, and you know, I want the best for her. And like I said, you want to avoid what I didn't have. You know what I mean? And single parent, and that's where I regret that she couldn't have us both. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking a little before we even started this interview. You were talking about some of the icons, if you will, that you look and you wonder about their journeys and what you think about timeliness as far as when fame comes and how it comes. Let's talk about your outlook on that.
Okay. I mean, I look at people like T.D. Jakes. Great, powerful man who has humble beginnings. You know, he's from West Virginia. You know, like that. It just goes to show you that you know, becoming successful, there's no respecter of person. It doesn't matter your origin, you know, but where you end up. And greatness can be in any of us. We all have talents, gifts, abilities that makes us unique. And that is what I look at when I look at people like that. Even Steve Harvey, you know, Steve Harvey's a...
And I'm laughing because every time I think of Steve Harvey, he is one of the funniest men I know, you know, on television or elsewhere.
Yeah,
he's a really
I mean,
funny
he's funny,
man.
but if you look at his story and the things that he's been through with marriages...
And he's been homeless. You
exactly,
were talking about.
exactly.
Yeah,
and Tyler Perry,
on,
they've been homeless. You know, it just, when you've gone through that kind of stuff, it just makes you more, you know, I think you said wisdom early. It gives you more wisdom in how to deal with things in life. And I just feel like using all those experience to bring this like focused beam of who you are, you know, that's where you grow and that's where you learn from.
Is that what you've gotten out of your early experiences? Has it been focus?
Yes, I mean, it's taught me because I used to be very prideful. So I mean that
pride is a really bad thing.
Exactly. I mean, confidence is different, but
pride,
yeah, being proud, and the Bible talks about being proud. You shouldn't be proud and arrogant. But yeah, that kind of stuff broke me of that. It broke me down to a point where, you know, it let me see like, hey, I'm nobody without, you know, my creator. I need support from people. You value relationships. You know, you don't do anybody dirty. You know, love everyone. I even love my enemies. You know, my enemies have elevated me to the point where I'm at. And people are like, what? Not your enemies?
No, they really do.
They teach you great lessons in life.
They
you know?
sure do.
And
I've learned my greatest lessons from people who've done me wrong.
Exactly. And they make, it's almost like when somebody is like out to do you wrong, it's like, you know, and you can flip that thing and say, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, like look negative at that, but I'm gonna let it build me up. You know what I mean? It's empowering.
And a statement just came to mind. Malala, the young woman who just won the Nobel, she's a Nobel laureate, and her powerful statement saying that, you know, she didn't desire, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, she did not desire revenge on the Taliban. She said what she's aspiring to do is to teach the children of the Taliban and to educate them. And that, to me, is like the ultimate. Yeah. You know, when someone tries to harm you, the ultimate saying, you know what, I know you meant harm to me, but here's what I think about what you did, and do something positive to offset it. So,
yeah, because you take the power away from them.
You sure do. You know? You sure do. And I really, you know, when I first met you, actually, the introduction came through a mutual friend, and when I met you, and it's so funny, he told me about you one week, and then the next week I'm surfing on television looking for something to watch, and I look and I'm like, is he doing there? It was so crazy. So it seemed like our meeting was a divine stroke as well, because I did not know about you before, and I don't watch a lot of television, but this particular night I was looking for something to watch because nothing was on that I thought was good, and there you were. And it has been a real pleasure getting to know you, but let's talk about now before we run out of time, because I know you have a lot on the horizon. And when I look at, I mean, you have your, I want those butter coins, by the way. When are they going to hit the market?
I mean, it's a lot of work trying to put out a product. I didn't know, you know, all the you know, research that goes behind it. You know, you have to do the logo. So I'm working on the strategy. My goal now is to product packaging. I want it to be sleek packaging, something that's you know, organic looking. That's going to be nice in like a farmer's market or something. Right. So I'm working on that.
And you have, I know you have not given up your aspirations for television.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I think you would be so cool on TV, because I love your energy, and I had an opportunity to hang out in the kitchen with you several weeks back, and getting two chefs in the kitchen, they have their own opinions. That's all I'll tell you. But it was a lot of fun hanging out with you and just seeing your technique, and you can cook.
Thank you.
Anybody who can make fish, because most people, they either fry it. Yeah. If you take them away from that, they don't know what to do with fish. And you really did an excellent job, because most people will overcook it or undercook it. Yep. But you did an excellent job. So you're pretty darn good. And that salad was really good too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. But getting back to you, you have a really big event coming up at the Washington Convention Center.
Yes.
And it's part of the Metropolitan Cooking and Entertaining and part of the military. So you can't get away from your roots, can you? No. So talk about that real quick.
Okay, well, it's an event that supports the an actual segment I'm doing is Operation Home Cooking, and it's an event that supports military spouses. You know, because a lot of times, you know, the military they go out and fight for us, you know, so that we have the freedoms that we have, and these spouses are just as big a part, because they support the families of these military enlisted people. So it's very, like I said, me being in the military and actually experiencing that, being away from home, I was definitely excited to jump on this opportunity to give these people a show that's gonna, you know, bring good morale to them, and you know, just celebrate them.
Is this part of is this a fundraising effort, or is there some way they can, or just bring light on so that people can?
Yeah, it is. I believe it is a fundraising event, because there's sponsors and stuff that are giving back, to the military spouses. I mean, especially with veterans with disabilities and stuff like that. So it's definitely a great event. Now
you mentioned, is this part of Wounded Warriors, or are they a part of
Wounded Warriors is a sponsor, I believe. I think they are putting the event on Wounded Warriors.
Excellent.
So well, I was going to get back to your question of, you know, what are you going to do, you know, in TV? So my goal is, I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. That's my favorite saying, because I don't like wasted opportunities. I'm just trying to take this opportunity, and this is something that I've it's like an aha moment for me. I've been getting this like in my sleep at night. I'm like, wow, I've taken everything that I love and that I've you know, grown up with. I love music, I love food, I love comedy, entertaining. I've done that all my life, from plays and church plays when I was young. People are like, man, you're funny. I was a class clown. I used to make everyone laugh. I love cooking, you know, that's my passion. I'm really good at it. And then music, I've always, you know, everyone loves music. That's, you know, brings emotion. So I want to try to create this, bring all three of those together in a nice package that people will like enjoy all three. So this event was the perfect opportunity for me to do that.
Test it out.
So I have a live band that's going to accompany me. We have some great skits we're going to do, some impersonations, some comedy skits to get everyone laughing, and I have some really great food demos that I'm going to do for this event. So I'm really, really excited. And also, I'm having this filmed so I can do a pilot.
Wonderful.
for like
Very
a
smart move.
late night comedy show, like a late night food entertainment show. That's what I'm trying to pitch. So I really think we just left rehearsal last night, had the guys cracking up. The band is great. They're really talented. So I'm looking for some big opportunities coming after this.
And you heard the origin of this happened here, so no copying.
Yeah.
And so what else is on the horizon? Oh, by the way, give the dates for your presentation at the Washington.
Oh, so the dates will be November 8th. That's when my presentation is.
How long is it?
It's an hour demo.
Perfect.
You can buy tickets at operationhomecooking.org, I believe.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm the headliner for Operation Home Cooking.
Okay.
Now, for the Metro Cooking DC side, the headliners are Guy Fieri and Bobby Flay.
Right.
So Bobby
Flay. So you get to see Bobby Flay again.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yours truly will also be there. Kind of not one of the big stars, but I'll be there as well. I've done something before. So
I feel so honored to be on the same stage that they're performing on. It's just like, wow, a great opportunity for me to. So like I said, like I did on Cutthroat Kitchen, if this is the pinnacle of my career, I'm gonna lay it all on the table and I'm gonna give it everything I have. And if this is it, then I will have a great show to show my family. I made it this far, but I believe I have an inkling.
I think this is just the beginning.
I have an inkling that it's gonna wow everyone and it's gonna take off. So,
let me ask you: have you sent that tweet out there? Because social media is awesome. Did you let Bobby Flay know you're going to be there?
You know what? I was thinking about doing that on the way to coming over here, but I'm definitely going to tweet him and say, hey, I'm going to be performing there too.
Because you never know what can happen. He may invite you into the stage with him. I've heard of.
And he's really down to earth.
And you guys really hit it off.
Yes.
So I think he might like the opportunity to have you come and hang out with him. I will, and also send up a prayer that perhaps that will happen.
Yeah, most definitely.
When you're having fun, time goes by so quickly. Yeah, we are coming to the end. And again, give them your website address.
Okay.
We know about the Operation Food.
Operation Home Cooking?
Home Cooking, yes. Operation Home Cooking. Is there anything else you would like to share in terms of how they can get in touch with you, to follow you, and also participate in your success?
Okay.
So you can look at this camera right here.
Well, you can follow me on any of my social media mediums at Chef C. Kyler. They're all the same for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all my pages. So please follow me. And also YouTube at Chris Kyler. I'm going to be posting some videos, some recipes soon. I got a lot of stuff bubbling, and I just want to bring my passion and share with everyone. So please follow me. If you need booking or appearances, you can visit my website, chefkyler.com. For events, catering, any type of private events, you can reach me at capcatering.com. That's KAP. catering.com for all your events.
Perfect. You did that like a pro.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for us this week on Metro Magazine. And I'm so glad you joined us. And Chris, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And we're going to be back here next week, same time, same place. And I hope you guys have a good week. I'll see you on the flip side.